Good morning. It is roughly 2:30 in the AM here in Minnesota. Thanks once again for watching Blue City Reviews. Did not expect to be up at this hour reviewing this film, but I went in to check on my fiance who hasn't been sleeping the greatest. This movie was about 5 or 10 minutes in, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I thought, well, I'll just sit down, watch another 15 minutes of it. I haven't seen this in a while, and I remember it being kind of fun. As a kid, for sure, I had it on one of those VHS tapes with three different movies on it. Horrible quality, but that's what you had, and you watched it. Especially, I lived like way out in the middle of nowhere for a long time, Viola, fucking Wisconsin, and there was nothing to do. We didn't even have TV. Like, we didn't even have TV, and radio reception was spotty except for a couple channels. So, the 20 to 25 VHS tapes I had, I watched over and over and over, and Tango and Cash was one of them. I got sucked in and finished the whole thing with her. I sat there. In fact, she fell asleep towards the end. And I sat there and watched the whole thing, man. Now, this is part of this 80s craze with the buddy cop movies. Obviously, not all the characters were cops in this genre. But the whole buddy cop genre implies two mismatched characters, usually one straight laced, one a little on the edge and full of wisecracks who have to pair together due to some circumstance with the law and fight some sort of lead bad guy. And usually one gets introduced to the other's family and they change each other and they kind of more or less become the same character at the end of the film. And the overwhelming majority of those films in the 80s worked, like 48 Hours, Lethal Weapons. I mean, the first two for sure, but I like all four. Beverly Hills Cop is actually a wonderful buddy cop movie. Stakeout, Red Heat, Midnight Run, Marty Brest did a bunch. Walter Hill did a couple. The list goes on and on and on. Now, if I was to categorize this, like, to rank it among its peers. I mean, if I was to put like Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop at the top and something like Double Team or Cop Out at the bottom, right? This would be in the middle. I think this is a very serviceable and entertaining buddy cop film, but it's got a lot of issues that I had never really noticed. I mean, growing up, I noticed it was a little jumpy and a little. I felt like there was something missing. Like it just jumped around a lot. Even as a kid, I noticed that. But tonight, I really noticed it. And let's get into it. The plot is fairly simple. These two cops are, they're good at what they do, but they both have different approaches. And they're both framed by this crime lord, played by Jack Palance, and spend a lot of time in jail for the crime and end up way too late in the film, actually, breaking out of jail and tracking down the people who framed them. And that's it. And, the movie works primarily because of these two, but the whole cast. It's a testament to the star power of these two that this was actually somewhat successful because the script is just garbage. I'm sorry. I don't know. I get the feeling like I can insult it because it went through so many rewrites. I don't think I'm insulting anybody. Excuse me. I don't think I'm insulting anybody by saying that. I mean, probably all of the writers are like, it's not mine. I don't know much about the backstory of the production. I do know that it was troubled because I have a couple of friends who also have movie review channels here on YouTube, very talented people who love this movie but are well aware of its production problems. Yeah, there are a lot of issues here, but these two hold it together because star power is no joke. People roll their eyes, oh, movie stars, right? No, being a movie star is a thing, man. Having millions of people wanting to watch you just talk about random shit, which is basically what these two do through the whole movie, that's a huge thing. And Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell are, when they're on the screen together, it's phenomenal, even though the dialogue is utter trash. Lots of, my dick is bigger than yours, and it's like a 7-minute long shower scene where they're making fun of each other's dicks, and, it's just that type of humor, and it's not very well written. I mean, the dialogue in 48 Hours and like Lethal Weapon, man, it's snappy. It has a point of view and it moves along and it's not just generic. The dialogue in this seems very, very generic. Like, it went through so many rewrites, it just didn't have any personality anymore. But these two bring personality to it. And it's not just them, the whole cast around them really comes through with some great moments. Jack Palance has some really great moments here. What is it with him getting shot in the head? I was just watching Young Guns a couple weeks ago. Same death scene. Brian James, rest in peace. Robert Zadar, rest in peace. They both play some great villains here. Michael J. Pollard always is entertaining. He has a couple of fantastic scenes. Clint Howard, Terry Hatcher, who, one of the few female characters. Again, I'm not trying to be revisionist here and trash the film for simply being an 80s film, but it is worth noticing that there is, primarily just one female character, and then the only other scene that features a bunch of other females, they're nude. So, but that's okay. I mean, being a guy movie is okay, especially in this era. I'm not going to bash it for that, but it is, it's something you notice, like, oh shit, this is why this hasn't had a life as long as something like, Lethal Weapon or 48 Hours, which invites you into the lives of the leads and gives you some strong female characters there. Now, the director of this film is Andrei Konchalovsky. Andrei Konchalovsky. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know what he's done or what he did after that, but this feels very much like a movie directed by Sylvester Stallone. Aside from the fact that it's very PG-13, I think if you were to take out some language and the scene with the bare breasts and a little pieces here and there, this would be an easy PG-13, if not PG nowadays. So aside from that, this feels like a Sylvester Stallone action movie. It really does. I don't know, again, what the behind-the-scenes problems were, but I would not be surprised if somehow he ended up directing the majority of this footage, because, yeah. And the other thing it's worth noticing is by the end of the film, it's very hard to tell these two guys apart, which is part of the cliche, right? But still, man, it's almost at certain points like Stallone did not want to be upstaged by Kurt Russell, which is a shame. I think he needed to play this a little more straight. Towards the end, it's like they're both trying to get the better one-liner, and none of the one-liners are really landing. And I gotta say, this is, as I said, a pretty generic buddy cop movie that succeeds by the merits of the cast, by their talent, by the fact that they're professionals. They're going to show up and do the best job they can. And because of that, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch these two together. So, I mean, thumbs up, but I wouldn't recommend this to a younger audience. There are other buddy cop movies, specifically from the 80s, that I would say watch that over this, for sure, because some of the humor is not aged well at all. Worth noting, great buddy cop score once again from Harold Faltermeyer. Always dependable doing a score for this type of thing or any type of film. He's never delivered a bad score. So, thanks once again for watching Blue City Reviews, Tango and Cash. I still enjoy it, but nostalgia plays a huge part in that.